Mariners lose 3-1. They fall to 35-36 on the season. They lose the first game of the 3-game set against the Yankees, and they're 0-1 on the current road trip. Quick go through of what happened. Not a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you, for either team offensively. But in the first inning, Yankees get one. Yankees get two more in the second on a Billy McKinney homer, which makes me feel a little bit old. A former interesting first-round pick prospect that is actually playing pretty well for the Yankees. Good for him, but not great. And then the Mariners do get one on a Gerrit Kelenic double into the opposite field. Love seeing hard contact. Love seeing opposite field hits for him. Wish we were seeing some homers again, but hey, there's your positive for in terms of offense is that. And in terms of pitching, Ty Adcock was really good. Ty Adcock looks like a thing. A couple of strikeouts against good major league hitters, and it was a fairly high leverage situation. You know, you kept the team in the game. A bloop and a blast is, something that it's a cliche, but you kept the team into that. You pitched a scoreless inning. You have yet to allow an earned run. Did I expect Ty Adcock to be a contributor this year? No, but I'm starting to believe that can be a thing. That's pretty cool. It's also a very good example on why you don't want to trade a whole heck of a lot of prospects for bullpen help or, yeah. These guys come up all the time. They just do. And you look at like the elite relievers in baseball, and most of them are not former top prospects. There's some exceptions, but it's mostly the reclamation project type guys. I'm not saying being a reliever is easy. I'm just saying you don't go out of your way to spend a lot on relievers unless you absolutely have to. Like the Dodgers are going to have to because their injured list is like, I swear to goodness, the last time I looked when I was doing RotoWire stuff, there was at least 10 guys on the injured list for that team in their bullpen. So, sometimes that happens, but you don't want to go too nuts. That's the most obvious point I'll make in a video, but it is what it is. George Kirby was okay. 7 innings was great because, you don't have to waste your bullpen, and I think you're going to need it. Even with Castillo pitching tomorrow, you'd prefer not to have to waste guys when you're, losing a game, and we'll talk about why they lost in just one sec. But I thought he was okay. Didn't allow any runs after the second inning. Certainly wasn't a disaster. Certainly wasn't dominant. But I'll take 7 innings of 3-run baseball in New York. Fine job. B- to B. Not great. Fortunate. Gave up a lot of hits. Did not miss a lot of bats. But good enough. Good enough. Or would be good enough if he was playing behind an offense that didn't suck. The offense was terrible tonight. And we will credit to Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole gets credit tonight. He was good. Wasn't the vintage Gerrit Cole, the huge strikeout Gerrit Cole, but 7 to third innings with 8 strikeouts. And I think he struck out like the last 5 or something like that. He pitched. He was good. We do have to give credit. It's a daily show. We will give credit to Gerrit Cole, who, the 8-1 record, blah, 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 but a 2.64 ERA. He's good. Gerrit Cole is a legitimate top of the rotation ace type guy, and he pitched well. But the offense made it too easy for him tonight. I mean, outside of Julio stung a baseball to third base that Josh Donaldson made a nice play. Ty France did hit a sharp grounder to first base that I actually missed, but somebody pointed out. There was some hard contact tonight, but not nearly enough. Like, you could both acknowledge that Gerrit Cole was good and this offense wasn't close to good enough. Those two things are not even close to mutually exclusive. Not even close. Mike Ford was lost. I get why you're rooting for Mike Ford, folks. It's fun. But even while crediting the heck out of him for that 2-homer game not too long ago, I also was pretty clear that I didn't believe that this was sustainable, and everything he's shown since then suggests that I am unfortunately correct. He is not a starting designated hitter for a postseason contending team. He's not. Sorry. Wish I was wrong. Love to see Mike Ford have a successful major league career with how much he's bounced around and stuff like that. Maybe he can be a decent bench bat. If you had a deep enough roster to have somebody like that to come up against, a right-handed reliever type of thing, great. He can't be your starting designated hitter. He can't. He is not good enough. Worth pointing out that J.P. Crawford leaves this game with an injury. They called it a right shoulder contusion. If I had one thing I'd like to say for this video, stop calling it. Just call it a bruise. It's fine. Just call it a bruise. Contusion just confuses the heck out of people. And I know there's deeper bruises and yada, 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 but just call it a flippin' bruise. J.P. Crawford lists this game with a right shoulder bruise. Now, it is worth pointing out that that's what they say he left with, but they already had him undergo x-rays, negative, which is good news. But he also said he's going to undergo an MRI. And so I kind of wonder if it's more than a bruise. Because if it was just a bruise, I don't think you're talking about x-rays and then additional imaging, right? Like, I get precautions, but it doesn't sound great. That's a big loss because you're either talking about Jose Caballero coming to play shortstop and moving Colton Wong to second base, or you're talking about Dylan Moore playing shortstop and Jose Caballero staying at second base. Like I've probably complained about JP Crawford more than anybody else. And it's not because I don't like JP Crawford. It's more because of the fact that I don't think he's quite good enough of a shortstop for a playoff contending team. I think he would have been a fine second baseman. I would love to have him. Yeah, we've been over this ad nauseum. We're not going to do this again. We will, but right now I'm not going to go over how much I think they screwed up in this offseason plan. But Dylan Moore has looked terrible. A very small sample. Coming off the injured list, didn't get a full spring, didn't get really any spring training, has played in a couple of rehab stints, but it's not the same thing. Like, spring training is probably more indicative than a rehab assignment is. Like, just being real with you, because you're facing just minor league pitchers in that situation. At least in spring training, you're getting some major league looks. Anyway, he's looked awful. Very concerning. In my personal opinion, how bad he's looked. I love Dylan Moore. I think he's a strong utility guy on a good roster, but I think that I'm worried. I'm worried about the fact that he didn't get to play for as long as he did, and being just a bench guy now. Well, maybe he's not just a bench guy if JP Crawford has to go on the injured list, but he's looked bad. He has looked bad. Teoscar had a really tough game. Suarez had a couple of big strikeouts. Caballero gets the luckiest hit one of the luckiest hits that the Seattle Mariners have ever had, or not ever. That's extremely hyperbolic. One of the luckiest hits in a while for the Seattle Mariners. Raleigh gets a hit that some people thought was an error. I think it was probably a hit. Torres had to range over a pretty good deal to make that play. And I like Cal Raleigh, so I'm going to call it a hit. Fine. Scorekeeping, by the way, is terrible right now. It's terrible. Really, not a huge issue like umpiring, but like, unfortunately, people get paid off of VRA and people get paid off of batting average and all that stuff. It's not how it should be, but it's true. So the scorekeeping's got to be a little bit better. Major League Baseball really should look into making that a higher priority. They have plenty of money. They can do it. Make them full-time guys, maybe employed by Major League Baseball. It's not good right now. You ask any beat writer right now, these guys are not good. And the offense was not good tonight. You can credit Cole if you want, and you should. We are going to give Gerrit Cole credit. But you made it too easy on him tonight. Made it way too easy on it tonight. And unfortunately, this is a very bad start to the road trip. A road trip that I personally believe is a big one. Because you're playing two teams ahead of you, playing two teams that look like playoff teams. You not only want to gain ground on them, you want to look like you're competing with these guys. Look, the Mariners only lost by 2. I think if you watched that game, you probably came away with the sense that the Yankees are a good deal better than the Seattle Mariners right now and are missing the second best player in baseball. Ohtani's pretty clearly 1-1 in my humble estimation, but without Aaron Judge. And the Yankees have been, I talked about this on Molly Watt Monday, they've been awful this month. Hitting something like 199 for the month of June coming into the month, or coming into this game, excuse me. And they didn't do well offensively tonight. They didn't score a run for 6 innings. The third through 8th inning, nothing. But they did enough. And now the Seattle Mariners are, 35 and 36. They are 4 games back. 5 games back in the win, 3 games back in the loss. Yeah. So maybe that's 4.5, but whatever. So tomorrow you have got Luis Castillo going up against Johnny Brito. Brito's interesting. He's some pretty good stuff. He's terrible command. Will throw a lot of pitches that are not at the location that he wants. So I will be curious to see how the offense responds. Be curious to see if Crawford's in the lineup. I will bet dollars to donuts that he's not. Even if this is an insignificant injury, you're probably just sitting him to make sure that he's for precautionary reasons. Here's hoping this isn't an IL stint, because this team's depth is so garbage that you just can't afford to have, as flawed of player as JP Crawford is, you can't really afford to lose guys like that now. You feel pretty good after that homestand, and then you're just kind of, again, it's one game. But you're reminded of just how flawed this roster is. Man. Got to play better. And hopefully you've got your ace on the mound. I trust Luis Castillo to do a nice little job, because he usually does. And you should score some runs against Johnny Brito. You lose this one tomorrow, we're going to have some stuff to talk about. And if you want to talk to me on twitter.com, you can follow me at Crawford_MILB. Excellent segue, Chris Crawford. You can follow my you can follow my podcast, Sports Sometimes. Just recorded a really fun episode with my good buddy RotoPat. It was a lot of fun. You can follow the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. I host that every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Going to be doing a solo show on Sunday where I answer your questions. Ask me any prospect stuff you might have. It's good stuff. I think it's good stuff. I like it. And then my imminent arrivals on RotoWire as well. So be on the lookout for that. And please hit like and subscribe on these videos. Not begging, but I sure would like it if you... No, I am begging. I'm begging you to do it. If you don't do it, you hate puppies and children. You don't hate puppies and children, do you? I didn't think so. But I don't like Mariner losses. Unfortunately, now you've lost 2 of 3. And bad start. Bad start to this road trip. Gerrit Cole good, Mariners bad.